Welcome to AEC Today. We're always excited to share with you the wonderful things happening throughout the conference. And today, we're talking about the Virginia area. On February the 11th, they hosted a social justice rally at our Calvary Church in Newport News, Virginia. Pastor Dwayne Prevet, the area leader and host pastor, was happy to welcome special guests and members from the 21 churches that make up the Virginia area. Jackson M. Doggett Jr., AEC's General Counsel and Public Affairs and Religious Liberty Director, spoke for the morning worship service. But the afternoon program was dedicated to exploring church and community relations post-pandemic. Pastor Prevet offered the welcome and opening remarks, but then the program was handed off to Pastor Justin Pierre, who served as moderator.
We are learning in community. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you've got to go together. And so we're going to learn together, not just our churches, but we have some amazing community partners here today.
Congressman Bobby Scott, who represents the 3rd District of Virginia, was in attendance and shared remarks, including his stance on metal detectors in schools.
It's a nice soundbite. We got metal detectors. We're protected. But it doesn't do anything to reduce the problem. Metal detectors may change the shooting from the school to the 7-Eleven down the street. But if these kids are shooting each other, the metal detector is not the solution. Where are the counselors? You got to have 2 people at the metal detector. You got to hire 2 people all day. Because one of them needs to go to the restroom. You need somebody there all day. You need 2 people. You could have had counselors. You could have had coaches. You could have started a school orchestra. All you got is metal detectors letting the young people know that we think they're little criminals and they're going to get the idea, and guess what they're going to become.
The program then transitioned into a panel discussion on leading and achieving community impact as faith-based partners. Panelists included Jackson Doggett Jr., our General Counsel and Public Affairs and Religious Liberty Director, Tasha Bryant, political analyst and host of Just the Facts political podcast, Jacqueline Linder, the Director of Nutrition Programs for the Virginia Peninsula Food Bank, and Pastor Ishmael Spencer Wade from our Compostela Heights Church in Norfolk, Virginia. Attorney Doggett began by weighing in on the church's relationship with the community.
First of all, the church needs to desire to be involved in community change. That we've got to go, as you heard me this morning, we've got to go from simply worship and asking God to change things to worship and asking God to change us so that we're willing to be in the community, finding out what the needs actually are, connecting with the people who can help us do something about it, and supporting and holding people accountable.
Pastor Wade shared his thoughts on what he believes is the church's mission.
We have to ask ourselves the question, as a member of Compostela, as a member of Calvary, do I go to church? Do I have church? Or am I the church? And what we have to keep in mind is that as the church, our first priority is to continue the mission of Jesus. And so with the desire to want to be a part of the community, we have to understand that we've actually been given a mandate to continue the earthly ministry of Jesus. And Jesus said what? Jesus, when he left and ascended to heaven, he didn't say stay. He didn't say congregate. He said go.
Tasha Bryant shared why she feels it's important for the church to get involved with political and social affairs.
I think what people have to understand is that in order for the government to do their job, they have to know what it is we expect of them, right? And in order for there to be separation of church and state, we have to be in the position to where we make sure we have the right people in office to protect that, don't we? Right? So it's important to understand that voting, registering people to vote, encouraging people to vote, knowing what you're voting for, knowing what the platforms are, all of that is going to be important in being able to maintain the status that we have in the church. Because understand, if I go and I vote for someone and their policy doesn't align with what I need, then how can I expect them to vote in line with what I need? They're going to vote in line with what their policy is. So it is incumbent upon us to make sure that we are well aware of what these policies are, what are your voting trends, what do you truly believe? Not what do you believe once it's time for you to get in office and you pay a visit to, the Black church and clap with us and all that. Uh-oh. No, uh-oh. What are your trends? What are you standing for? What are you voting for? And how does that affect me?
Jacqueline Linder highlighted the church's influence on the community.
We look back through history, we know that the church is the most powerful entity on the face of the planet. The church is a living, breathing organism. Its primary mission is to serve. And there are times when things may change over years. We see that now. We see more and more younger people involved in activities that are not, I would say 50 years ago, was not very commonplace. But I think over the years, what has happened with the church has become still yet an influencer, but more of a silent influencer. It's almost like, the church is waiting for something to happen and then do something. When in years past, in decades past, church has always been the leader, the one who guided.
The discussion continued to bring out some of the challenges the church and community face in working together and some of the shifts that may need to take place.
Jesus said, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. How did Jesus serve humanity? The Bible tells us in John chapter 1, verse 14, that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. In other words, Jesus did not save us from a distance. He came to where we were. He became incarnate in order to be present with us. And so in order for us to really, really reach our community, we have to be present in our community.
Congressman just told you there's money in certain places that can help, but we'll try to recreate the wheel so we can say my church is doing. When there are resources out there, we need to say, go get it. Yeah. As opposed to come here to our brand new program that we can hardly fund.
Following the panel discussion, Dr. Sharon Kraft, a psychiatric nurse practitioner, shared on building communities of hope by highlighting the importance of mental health.
People say, I keep it 100. No, you don't. You don't keep it 100. You don't go to work and tell your boss, I really can't stand you. That's 100. So that's what churches have to do. They have to be more open, be candid, be honest, create that, more acceptance.
Following that presentation, Kamika Creedle, Chief Executive Officer of Creedle Counseling, LLC, also presented best practices in church and community collaboration.
So the goal of collaboration as a church is the spiritual and societal transformation of a city. The spiritual transformation occurs when people begin to love God with all of their heart, soul, mind, and strength, Luke 10:27. And the societal transformation helps when people love their neighbors as themselves, and as a result to strive about the restoration of the broken places and systems of their city, which is Isaiah 58:12.
The evening program ended with a call to action from Pastor Dwayne Prevet.
But I dare say there are individuals sitting here that there's a fire that's brewing inside of your heart, not always just for God, but there's something that says, I can't stand injustice. I can't stand watching the people that are poor getting messed over. I just hate to see people that are uneducated continue to go down that pathway. I have to do something.
Wow, he got me fired up and I wasn't even there. After closing out, attendees were able to visit exhibits from various community agencies. Awesome job, Virginia area, on shining the light on social justice. Our Public Affairs and Religious Liberty Department hopes to have something like this in all of our 6 areas. Stay tuned for more on that. Let us know what your church is doing. Write us at lhewitt@aecsda.com. Stay blessed, everyone.